It's an Australian Shiraz, but there was an airplane on the label, so that meant we had to buy the bottle. Change is as good as the rest, they say. Change, they say, is the only universal constant. A rolling stone gathers no moss, and complacency is the devil's lentil soup. Now granted, I may have made one of those up, but when we use the word change in relation to modelling or modellers, it generally means that the words zone and comfort are lurking in a sentence nearby. And as far as my comfort zone goes, it's a fairly safe bet to say that it's about to take a swift kick to the schnitzels as I attempt to chow down on the grass of pastures new. Now, I'm not saying how long I'm going to stay in said pasture before jumping back over the fence into familiar territory, but for the time being anyway, we're going to see what this grass is like, as it were. Now, first up is actually the product of necessity. As you all know, because I've said it many times, our model club have themed competition nights, just little fun little things, and our August theme competition is ship. Now when we first decided on that, I mean obviously, does that mean any kind of ship? Obviously hoping that spaceship was part of the deal, but no, it wasn't. It has to be a ship that comes into contact with water. Now I suppose spaceships could sort of crash in the water, but that's a little bit sort of tenuous to say the least. So first up is this little thing, little being the operative word, both in stature and price. I didn't want to spend too much because I have literally no interest in ships. I used to build ships before when I was a kid, you know, the big Airfix battleships, the Scharnhorst, the Bismarck, that kind of thing. But this time round I just don't seem to have any interest in nautical themed kits at all. So I didn't want to spend too much money because in case I run out of steam, pardon the pun, or just because I just don't have any interest in it really. But I do like to take part in these competitions where possible. Now, a couple of weeks ago, 5 of us crammed into a car and we drove the several hundred miles down to the Northern Model Show, which is in a place called North Shields, which is just outside Newcastle, which is where the brown ale comes from. And I saw a couple of I just missed out on one of those Tamiya waterline things, which was like going for £5, and just the guy in front of me bought it. So I managed to find a trader who was selling these things. Now this is actually Mirage Hobby. That's the people who did the Karash, the Crushing Carp, the PZL 23 something or other B, that I built a couple of years ago. Was it a couple of years or? Well, yeah. So that kind of gives me hope that the plastic inside might be okay. But it's a guard ship, it's a Russian guard ship. It's cost £3.50. So if I run out of interest, as I say, it's not going to break the bank. But being a guard ship, it has lots of antennas and masts and whatnot. It's 1/400 scale, but plus it does look fairly flash free. Say that 10 times fast. The things that represent the antenna masts and the main masts. So, I mean, if you were to scale that up by a factor of 400, they would look more like American redwoods than they do the things on the box. As I say, if I had the inclination, I could maybe try doing some kind of scratch building on it. But I'm just going to build this thing straight out this little tiny box, and we'll see what happens with it, if anything does indeed. So that's a competition attempt number 1, and as I say, this was born out of necessity. The next purchase was born out of, as one of the traders was selling it was actually a model club that was selling this, I think. It's certainly getting into pastures new here. It's a Hasegawa kit of a submersible. It's the Shinkai 6500, which I believe is capable of the deepest dives. And when I saw this, I just thought, you know what, why the hell not? It goes in the water, it can float on the water, so technically it might come in within the bounds of the parameters of the competition guidelines or rules or whatever. And this one is right for some scratch building. There's a lot of cabling, these mesh boxes, that obviously the robot arms pick things up and drop things in. In the kit they're actually just represented by straightforward blocks, as it were. So I'll maybe try and scratch build something that looks like a scale mesh. It's 1/72 scale, and I know that this is kind of being done to death of late, and it may actually be this kit, I don't know, but I have seen dioramas of crashed wrecks, like a B-17 sitting on the ocean floor and one of these things coming down to examine it. And I have a couple of kits there. There's, in fact, it's a Hasegawa, strangely enough, a 0A6M2B0, and I thought that might be an idea to someday. This won't be done for the competition, but it's because this one comes on its own little stand, so I can use that in the time being, for the time being, I should say. But I thought it might be an idea to do that with a zero, sort of returning to the earth from whence it came, as it were. But that would require quite a bit of scratch building. The control surfaces, obviously the fabric covers would have deteriorated, disintegrated, so I would need to build all the spars and struts, and the canopy probably just need to be a bare frame. So and with the zero, that's obviously quite a complex frame, unless of course the centre section was lost and it crashed or whatever. You can get away with artistic license. So that, I thought that might be an idea in the future. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to getting started. There's not an awful lot of parts, because obviously it's just a big blob of a thing, really, when you think about it. I might try and do something. I suppose you do get the lenses on the clear parts. Oh yeah, you do. And obviously get orange parts, so you don't have to paint. But and again, some very extra thick decals, as per the course for Japanese kits. But this was £10. I think it goes for about 20 quid on Amazon, if not more. But I saw it and I couldn't stop myself. So that's two aquatic themed kits. The next one, delving back in time to World War I. This was actually, I purchased this at our own model show, which we had just at the weekend there, which was a great day. The wives help out in the cafe, so it's a very familial affair. And some people actually say it's the best show in Scotland, and I actually agree with them. One of the traders was selling this, and I thought, if I'm going to do anything from World War I, I'll do a monoplane rather than of course the Heracles is a biplane, but it doesn't have any rigging on between the two main wings. It has some rigging on the tailplane, which I've actually done, although it's interwar rather than World War I. But yeah, I've always liked the Eindecker anyway, or the Fokker E2 or E3, and this was £11. Well, I got it for £11. It's the trophy pack, so it has photo etch with it, which means turnbuckles. It has the photo etch turnbuckles, as well as the cooling thing on the Spandau gun. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to try something a little different. I have to get some new paints for this one, the dope colour for the canvas, and also fun doing the wooden propeller as well. And speaking of wooden things, this next kit, I mean, I've got to thank Sean for this, by the way. Cheers mate for giving me the opportunity to have a go at this. The Mini Art German Tram number 641, which does still exist today and is in a museum in Germany. Definitely breaking into pastures new here. The wooden thing relates to the fact that it has these big long wooden bench seats inside, and I think a lot of its the interior fascias are wood as well, so that'll give me a chance to try that thing where you spray a base colour and then use oil paints with a stiff brush and it creates a wood grain effect. I'm quite looking forward to that. But there's a reason why this box is this thick, and that is because it is absolutely jam-packed full of plastic. 625 parts this thing has, and none of them seem to be of any great size other than the section of road and tram tracks that you get with it. But from what I can see from the instruction book, and I'll do a review of this, an in-box review as it were, closer to the time that I'm going to start it, but from what I can see, there's not an awful lot of large parts, so it's good. Well, I don't mean sort of like the floor, but there's a lot of parts going in to make, like for example, just one of the bulkheads, the interior sort of doorways, as it were. Lots of intricate parts, and from what I can see through the plastic, they do appear to be very clean, crisp, beautifully detailed. There doesn't seem to be any flash. I've never built a mini art kit before, so this will be a first. Now the thing is, the picture on the front depicts a fairly mucky looking thing, as do the pictures on the front cover of the instruction booklet. And I don't know if German public transport would have been allowed to get that dirty. I know they always took great pride, as the Austrians and the Swiss and the French and all these European countries. So I don't know if it would have gotten that dirty. And I did actually find a picture of one of these things online, although albeit in black and white, but it did look very, very clean. And as I say, it's 641 still exists, which is presumably where they've gotten their reference from, and it's in a museum in Germany, and obviously it's pristine. So I don't know, and I have seen builds of these things in war-torn dioramas where they're all burnt out and full of bullet holes and broken glass, but I don't know whether to do it nice and clean, or try and just give it that used but clean look. So minimal, well, when I say minimal weathering, it will be weathered all over, but that fine balance between, it's just like your car, the way your car looks. You know, your car can get kind of, you know, you wash your car on a Sunday and you take it out for a drive, and 5 minutes later it's bearing the evidence of being driven. So that's kind of, if that makes any sense whatsoever, that's what I'm kind of go for. Not pristine when, you know, pristine clear glass. They'll have dirt and hands that have wiped or whatever, and just that scale faded shine that I've tried to explain in the past, I think, and probably failed miserably. But yeah, I don't know when I'm going to start this one. I would like to start it quite soon, but I will have to take my time on it, simply because there are 625 pieces in it. So there we go. I mean, if that's not getting out of a comfort zone, I don't know what is. So there we go. Yeah, looking forward to all of these, even I suppose the little ship, just to see if it does reignite anything. I doubt if it will, because I look at it and I go, but certainly the submersible, yeah. Well, bottom 3. What else? The Aerocobra is finished, the Edward Aerocobra, so I'll get something up to let you see that. And the little pink MiG is also done. I didn't do much in the way of build photos, so I said I didn't do any for the pink MiG. I think maybe 1 or 2 actually, early on. And the Aerocobra, again, very few. But I'll put up little photo montage videos of these PDQ, as it were. But anyway, that's all for just now. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Australian Shiraz with the aeroplane on the label, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Toodaloo.